welcome back to Muscles and Malpractice, your weekly dose of fitness, health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Andrew Bustos, with our other host,
Dr. Martin.
Dude,
Welcome to the show,
awesome,
everybody.
man.
Here we are, a day late, but not $1 short.
Sorry, hey, that's my fault. My son was playing in a basketball tournament.
Things come up, man.
You know, things come up. They did win the championship.
There we go. They won the championship,
They won the
dude.
championship.
They're the chomps.
Fourth grade champions.
It's all downhill from here.
Fourth grade. That's what matters. It really matters, right? It really matters.
It
It's
does.
a big deal. It does.
It does.
You're
I
teaching
mean,
them.
that's why they started giving out participation trophies.
That's not what he got, dude. He got a ring. Probably got custom. Now they give him like custom,
the
like
championship ring.
yeah, they're like this, and they're always like, yeah, got that ring right there, yeah. Second, I gotta tell you a quick story. So I was coaching, and we were doing machine pitch, and my wife Kate was my assistant coach. She was like the assistant to the assistant. You know, she helped out with the dugout. Well, the other coach didn't show up, so she really was my assistant coach for a tournament.
Wow.
And we won second place, and guess what I got? A ring. I was like,
you got married as a result of this?
No. Second place silver ring, bro. And I wore it around.
Sweet,
I wore it around like
bro.
I put it on my chain. I had it on a chain.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm excited.
Yeah. So wait,
Yeah.
when did Kate help you with this?
This was like
coaching?
3 seasons ago. I should have brought the ring out. I didn't know I was going to talk
Okay.
about that, but I have it. Like they give you a little pouch, like they put it like in a little thing, and you like pull it out, and it's big, man. They're like heavy, and I know that they're probably like $20 a piece if you order 1,000, right? But anyways, I mean, this thing is like, it's huge. It's so heavy. I still have it in my, as I'm looking over, it's still over there somewhere.
Nice.
So yeah, dude, we won it, and it was like the first ring I think either of us ever won. You know, because
I don't think I've won a lot of rings. I
we
feel
didn't
like
have
you're telling me
rings,
about
dude.
kids winning rings now.
They ring.
That
The big
wasn't
thing
the
is
thing. We had
rings.
trophies. We had all the little, like the Michael Scott best
Yes,
boss
dude.
trophies.
Those were
dude,
awesome.
You know? So
Those were
all the little
awesome. I love those. I did play soccer when I was growing up. Okay,
you
soccer
kept
stud.
going, dude. Best
I did.
sport in
I wore
America.
the Kelme shoes, and then the Pumas, and my go-to soccer cleat was actually the Adidas. Where the
Predator,
Copa,
bro. No, you did the old Copas, bro.
I did wear. I even did the little like you know how you put you tie your laces like underneath, and you bring it back up, and you do a little bow tie.
And then you got to get eventually they had these like little like rubber things you would put over the top so that you could put a little spin on the ball, bro.
No, dude, I wore them just so my shoelaces wouldn't come untied. That's why I wore
it was for spin, bro, dude. Did you not know? Were you just a little shoelace holder?
No, we played dump and run. We would just kick that ball down. Go get it. Go get it.
The fastest kid would get
fastest,
it down.
Just kick it to him. Just kick it to him.
Yeah,
I grew up in Carlsbad, New Mexico. We just played basketball and played outside and ran and kicked the can type of thing. We weren't like you boys in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's a big soccer town for sure.
Yeah, Houston. Hey, did you play soccer this weekend? Actually, yes, I did. My dad drove us all in our limo, and we did, on to play over there.
I didn't know everybody from Houston was
we just drove in our limo because we just played the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air team down the road.
There is a Bel-Air in Houston.
See, I'm right. I'm right, dude. Gosh, man.
Okay, so going into that, you played some sports this weekend. You couldn't do it. So, and again, we probably I think we're gonna end up doing a show next Monday again too, because there just happens to be this big holiday weekend coming up known as Easter.
It's called Easters.
It's called Easters. And there is, I think around Easter, I don't know if I'm gonna be ready yet. So. Long story short is we're supposed to be talking about nutrition today. And I think there's some things I'll touch on about nutrition and pregnancy just generally, but I would like to I feel like this show is meant for us to be able to just have things in our lives come up and we talk about them and we work through those things and we just kind of like, as learning issues, as things come up, I'm happy to talk about it as people bring things to me. Which I actually do this week. I noticed a viewer or listener had mentioned something they would like some insight into. So I kind of got something a little together for them just for like a minute little expose on this, just so they have some answers. I thought maybe other people might like it. Look, I think it's important that I kind of start to touch on, like, I literally been like listening to like sad music a lot lately because I'm just like getting real in my feels about stuff because I'm getting really upset about I'm eventually going to be leaving where I
Oh,
work
I shouldn't be
currently.
laughing at that. Sorry, dude.
What?
I
Yeah,
shouldn't
don't
be
be
I'm
laughing
kinda
about
laughing,
that.
but
Yeah,
because
dude.
the sentimental stuff, you know what got I started thinking about was the whole Michael Scott whenever he plays the what's the song? Goodbye.
Was a 900 and minutes or whatever. Dude, did you know? Okay, so funny enough, before, before we
Sorry,
get into
you're
stuff,
getting all sentimental, and I was over here just talking smack. Sorry.
so listen, do you know that Michael Scott didn't know that song was going to get played, but neither did Steve Carell. And Steve Carell heard it for the first time when they sang it, and he actually
Dude.
got
Well,
emotional
that's why it was a
because of
real
that song.
cry. It really was
Yeah,
a real
it was a
cry.
real cry.
You know
It was a real
like when
cry.
the yeah.
And I tell my patients, so the reason I'm bringing this up today is because apparently the letter did go out today. So anybody that I had not talked to of my own patients, and that's going to be a lot of people still that are going to end up finding out today, getting letters in the mail in the next few days that are like, find out that I'm leaving.
But what kinda letter so you're leaving where you're currently employed, and they sent
I'm
a
leaving where I'm
letter.
currently employed
What did
in
the letter say?
Abilene.
Was it like,
It's one of those
"See you later, sucker"?
generic,
It wasn't
dude.
like, "See you later,
You know,
suckers."
and I didn't write it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. It's like at some point I would love to get a lot more into my general feelings because like my dad has almost been a little disillusioned by healthcare, and I mean this is the guy who you know was happy that I went into this a long time ago, but
Sorry, bro.
it's
Hey,
okay.
I know it's a big deal. All jokes aside, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So you get through it. I'm here for you.
Well, and again, I don't want to really touch on it today.
I know, but your emotions, it's good. That's normal because you care. That's what I love
Yeah.
about you. You have a big heart.
But what I kind of did want to just touch on is the fact that, again, I would be leaving and kind of, I'll be gone from Abilene, but I'll be in Weatherford, is going to be where I newly pick up work at. And just thinking about, how patients have touched me over time. Um, has made a lot of difference. And so I just kind of wanted to, I guess, speak to that a little bit too. Uh, Probably yearly, it's like this huge topic to me because um, I don't even know where to start with it. Just about like how sad it is to me today, how things are in healthcare, and how patients and providers, I think, are the ones that are suffering the most from having to deal with things that are not right in the healthcare system. But I do want to touch on that stuff more. Again, I just don't want to get into it too much today. But that is where I kind of wanted to at least start with talking about something that I think is important to understand. Is that I recently watched a show and I think we talk about different things in healthcare. So I kind of wanted to talk about the show. I haven't brought the show up to you at all, I don't think, because we talk about a lot of nerdy shows.
Don't tell
But
them that. You can't be telling them that.
but but I don't watch medical shows like ever. But I watched this one medical show and it was incredible. And it speaks to a lot of man, it just kind of it touches I think healthcare people on a much deeper level than a lot of things usually do. And that's The Pit. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody's seen that.
I hadn't seen that. I was about to say Scrubs. I thought I was about to say
No,
Scrubs. Is
man,
that
no. Scrubs, dude.
what
Scrubs is stupid.
the
It
pit?
has
You
some
said
funny little insights, but like the pit, the pit is scary in terms of its accuracy about what it reminds me of from like my residency, even like how residents interact with each other, how residents interact with attendings and residents interact with patients. And it's scary accurate in terms of how it gets it right. And like there were points at which I was just like, man, they wrote that patient exactly the way that patient is. And there were times where I was like, man, that is exactly the way I remember being as a resident to a junior or something. And like my wife, who's a nurse, as you know, would kind of like look at me and be like, you were like that at times, this or that, or did you ever do that? And I'd be like,
Dang, got called
And
out.
it's just yeah, yeah. Because I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I get you watching that, but I don't know how I really can't watch those. I guess that's why I watch, like,
I
all the
never
funny
have.
stuff, like the
I
scrubs and all
don't,
that stuff.
and I don't really like it. I don't like Grey's Anatomy. I never really even liked like ER growing up. Even ER was like in my influential like want to become a doctor time in my life, and maybe I watched a little bit of it, but like it didn't hit me the way this show hit me. Maybe it was like the COVID stuff. Maybe it was just like a lot of the different things that they kind of touch on, but like especially the main character who was a young doctor in ER and became like he's kind of like the main attending in this one, Noah Wiley. Um, he's just very good. I mean, he's the emotion and yet the professionalism of him is like very nuanced and there's just so many walls to that person, and that's the way a lot of doctors have to be, and it's just a necessary part of the job. Which is unfortunate. You end up walling yourself off a lot. But
Man. Do you feel like you're like do you feel like you're that person when you're watching it? So I haven't seen it, but do you put yourself in their shoes? Do you empathize with them, or are you more empathetic of the patient?
both,
Both.
both. There's just I think ERs because again it follows an ER.
Oh, that's
ERs are
right.
the most easy to kind of like get a snapshot into humanity and into healthcare. But it, it encapsulates it's the easiest way for people and anybody to kind of make a TV show out of because again, the ER brings in raw humanity. It brings in and I mean that you do that in residency too. No matter what specialty you are in, you are gonna get exposed to the ER. Even in my job currently as an OBGYN, I'm gonna get calls from the ER about a patient I either don't know or I'm on call for the hospital. So they're gonna call me for a gynecology consult or whatever else. So then they are always the front facing part of our healthcare system too. Fortunately, right now, they are basically they are what constitutes almost the primary care for so much of healthcare in America, especially for undocumented, for people without health insurance, for people who can't afford care, for people out of state, like whatever. That's where they go get their healthcare. So, yeah, I mean, I identify with a lot of things in those shows. And one thing I was raised to be very appreciative of because I was always born into a have situation and not a have not is to appreciate what it would be like to not have.
Mm,
And
that
that I
makes
think
sense.
is tough for a lot of people. Um, that being said,
Yeah, thanks a lot. Gosh, I don't know.
I just,
I don't know how you guys do it. I'm gonna toot y'all's horn for a little bit. I'm talking doctors in general, great doctors because you are. Uh, you handle a lot of situations. Blood is a big one. I don't. I don't get it. I'm going to tell you another quick story. So one time, I have my ears pierced, and I had to take out my newest piercing out of this one. So it was my right ear because you only
yeah,
did the left ear back in the day, and then I did the right
I
one.
had the left ear, dude.
Well, I had the
Thought
right,
the
I had
left
both
ear
of
was
them.
the non-gay.
Well,
You
yeah,
remember
right, right.
how you had to like
Yeah,
really
you had to
make
do it like
sure
because if
when
you
you
had
were
the right,
like,
yeah,
wait, which one was the
if you
gay
had the right one, then yeah,
like
it's true.
again, no judgment. I
Yeah,
have plenty
but
of
that's how it was. That's how it was.
non-binary
Yes.
stuff, but like you didn't want to label. Okay, I don't want to get a lot of unsolicited calls here.
Exactly. But I did. I had both of so I got the left one first, and then
Yeah,
I guess about a month later I got the right one, but I had to play in a
yeah,
basketball tournament and they made me take it out or they made me something. So my brother had to take it out. My parents weren't around for some reason, so my brother took it out. I remember being like, "Okay, Alex, just gently." And the next thing I know, I'm on the ground because I saw a little speck of blood in the mirror as he's pulling it
yeah,
out. I'm
yeah,
talking like a speck, dude.
yeah,
Like it was like, oh, down, passed out. All I remember is being on the ground and he's throwing water on my face with a towel. He's like trying to. He has my hand, his hand behind my head, picking
yeah,
me off the floor, just from a speck of blood, dude. And I
yeah.
passed out. I had no way even I know it's a very small thing, but
Mm,
y'all see that crap all the time. Like you
yeah,
see blood. Like it's like, oh, blood. It's just
yeah.
part of the day. Just part of another
Well, I
day.
mean, hopefully it's never too much that you're seeing, but I
Which
mean,
even I told you it was a
OBGYNs
speck.
and
It was a
general and
speck.
trauma surgeons are seeing a lot of blood.
Yeah,
They're the ones
dude.
who see the blood.
So you guys were in the you guys were the kids in class that took chemistry where I was trying to actually like live my life to actually pass, and you were like, oh, let me go ahead and dissect, get everything. Let me just dissect everything, and I'm over there going, oh, look at this, got the spleen out here. Let me go look at that, tie everything.
There's always that kid. I guarantee you talk to every med student of all time. I don't think there's a kid that didn't there isn't a person who doesn't remember the kid in gross anatomy class who passed out
That
during
was me,
anatomy. So
dude.
there's
That was
always like
me.
a med student who like isn't ready for that, and like we started doing cadaver labs or whatever, and they're just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, this was
Then
with a
like,
toad, bro, or frog. It wasn't with no cadaver. This
oh,
was
I
a,
remember in undergrad when we did this physiology course, we didn't just like dissect a frog. We dissected a frog that had been like kind of sedated,
mm-hmm.
and then we dissected the heart out, and you would put it on these like little tension pulleys, and like it was the craziest thing because it kind of exhibited how with different tension you have more contractile force, which is really weird. I mean, it is kind of like next level. You have to be able to stomach some weird stuff, but like even the heart on tension will end up contracting stronger if you can pull it out of something and actually have it on tension. But it's a
I just
frog.
I just threw up like 3 times in my
Yeah.
mouth.
You know, I'm sorry. It is weird and creepy stuff. And I think it's a weird concept because I think what connects me so well to my patients is knowing that, like, at the end of the day, it could be delivery 15,491 to me, but it's delivery 1 or 2 for that person, right? And so that's what I try to remember always for that person. But at the same time, too, it's why you don't get to take care of your own. Again, people ask me about, do I deliver my own wife, all this stuff, and like it gets tricky because there has to be some objective elemental separatism from what you're doing because you have to be able to take care of that person, even if you have warm, loving emotions that you're doing everything you can for a patient. If you sit there and think about the blood that you're seeing too much, you're not doing your job.
Right. Right.
And it's a weird thing. And again, that's why I think there's such a heavy load with practitioners and providers and nurses and doctors and everybody in the healthcare system, is that they bear a tremendous load of emotional baggage trying to take care of people and do the best they can, all the while having a system that really, I want to say in general, just overarching. And again, I don't want to say one system, one hospital, whatever. It just is not that supportive. And then you have a society nowadays that, I mean, again, what I appreciate so much about shows like The Pit is that the guy, Noah Wiley, the actor, actually came out and talked about how nowadays medical expertise is almost looked at as like a pejorative. Like it's a bad thing for you to be a doctor, for you to be in a conventional area of wisdom and knowledge. We're like, I have this conversation regularly with laborist OBs I meet, with my partner OBs, that no one, I just like there are bad actors in every field ever made. They're bad cops, they're bad doctors, they're bad nurses, they're bad everybody. They exist. They're the 1%, they exist, yes. But, like, they rarely do exist, and especially in a field like OBGYN where, like, literally you just sacrifice your freaking life for these people a lot. It is hard to have people doubt your
Mm.
motivation for you have to do it because you love it. There is nobody in OBGYN that went into this field because, oh, I'm gonna make so much like, there are better ways to do it. It's just not worth it. It is because you do it because you care, because you love it, because you know you're making a difference. I don't know.
That's a big deal. Well, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It really is. And I think you do put your emotions, you put them out there, man, and then people suck. Some people just,
And
that
it's not
rip it
even the
out.
patients,
No,
man.
I'm not
You know
talking
what I
about,
mean?
yeah.
It's
Yeah, I'm not
it's
talking about
it's
them.
like it's like when you get administrative staff telling you you don't have enough quality metrics on this or that, or like, it's just it is insane to me that, like, what we have turned healthcare into. And again, you would see that on the pit. Like that, like the administrative person, this administrator comes down and talks to Noah Wiley about their patient satisfaction scores in the ER and their wait times. And it's like, that is not what I'm here to do. And if you want to do better with it, hire more staff because we're understaffed here. And it's like that's always the thing, is like it's never about how do we do this the right way with the right investments. It's about how do we do this with what little we're giving you. And I want you to make perfect scores on everything because it matters for how we get reimbursed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just
Man,
it's
you
it is soul crushing. It is soul crushing because there is just no other option for people in the line of work that we do. We don't choose to do this because there was another option. We choose to do this because we had no other option.
right.
It's what we wanted to do. So we're stuck in this very frustrating way doing what we do.
Well, do you feel that you're gonna be stuck in the future?
I don't know. I mean,
Because just listening to you, and that's probably too deep of a question,
mm,
but I feel like your
I'm gonna
heart.
keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
If it, I don't know how to put that. It's like if it breaks me completely, I just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't know how to go about.
You're always gonna be doing it. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, and I think that's the thing, the message that you're delivering too is like, you're here to take care of the patient. You're here to take care of that person because you took care. I'm gonna toot your horn again. You took care of my family with my daughter. She's 4 today, by the way. And you helped. You
Happy
were
birthday, my.
there. You were there, and you were like, even though, yeah, our doctor, a great doctor,
Mm-hmm.
you were still there to you had your own patients, but you showed up and you said, "Hey, I think we need to, I don't know the whatever, but hey, I think we need to do this. We need to do that." And we don't know, but your primary
Mm-hmm.
concern was to get that dang my daughter out. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get her out. Like, we got to get her out of there because if not, this is going to happen. And guess what? I can get emotional about it, and I can say like seeing her tonight blow out her candles. Dr. Martin was a part of that. So that's what's
Yeah.
pretty cool about it. So I think that's even something that is so heartfelt that you put people. I think as a professional in what you do, I think people take for granted the amount of time and effort, and you like you that takes away even from your family now time that you
Mm-hmm.
have put into this, because all they care about, and people in general, everybody just cares about themselves. But doctors don't. Like, they really don't. Like, the really good ones, they care about who's in front of them, regardless if they give you a straight answer and it's like, this is the way, man. This is how I'm going to help you. This is how the baby's going to come out. Because that's what you did with us. You were like, this is what has to happen. How come this hasn't happened? What's going on?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a big deal. And that is emotional because you've put a lot of time into that. Even in my world, just the other day, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I've done this for almost 20 years. And then there's this guy that walks into the gym, and you can tell he's one of those guys who's like, I know how to work out. I know what I'm doing. But you have a job that you do. Like, I do this all the time.
Right.
I get it's fitness, I get it's the gym, but I literally do this all. This is how I have built my family. This is how my house, this is how I pay for every bill, is what I do. But you come in here and you're like, "Oh, I know everything." I'm like, "Really? You know how many hours that I've spent doing this? It's probably like what you got to go through." And it's, "Hey, you know what? I saw this on TikTok and Instagram, and I saw this on Facebook the other day, and old Joseph was over there talking about this doctor. I don't know what Doctor Joseph, making it up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
like,
Yeah.
I just look, and that's where it becomes one of these things where, like, I think it's fair for people to have opinions and thoughts and concerns. It shows investment in their healthcare. There's definitely two approaches to it, though. I think that's the other thing is when you start bringing up people who like come in with preconceived notions or like somebody from the outside, like their Google matches your degree kind of thing, and it's like
Yeah,
that it's okay. Like I actually regularly encourage my patients to Google with caution, right? Like I'm like, okay, take this out and go home and look it up. And I don't like just be careful about the sources you're getting this information from. But like, I think it's good for you to go home and do some research on this because again, I don't want to. Healthcare is not a shopping list, which I do know some doctors again who approach it that way too, just like patients, where it's kind of like, tell me what I can do for you, and they will just do it. And that's not appropriate either. Um, the job is to make sure that patients understand what the healthcare decisions they're making and the recommendations you're making and why you're making them. And then you guys come to an agreed upon decision. It's shared decision making that's informed decision making. And that just one of those two is not good enough. It is both of those things. And so many times nowadays, we see that it's one or the other. It's either tell me what to do and I don't want to think about it, or I'm going to tell you what to do and I don't want to hear about it, or I don't want to really understand anything. I want to tell you why this is going to be the way that is. I gotta blow my nose real quick. I just have some, but give me give me your thoughts on that real quick. I'm listening. I'm
no, no,
listening,
no,
sir.
no. Yeah, yeah. And I think maybe I may be speaking out, because in my, it's following you. It's following you. Dr. Martin has this, Steert has this really nice camera that follows him around if he gets up and walks. You don't want that following you to blow your nose. But I think I'm not comparing what we do. I just know that in my field, I feel like that happens a lot. It's like I saw this on Instagram, I saw this on Facebook, I saw this on TikTok, and they did these things. And even now, even as I've gotten older, it really makes me sour. I don't really want to answer any of your questions. I don't really want to have to do that because you already know the answer to what you want to do. You've seen it already, right? I think everything works in my world. Everything, as long as you're consistent and you keep it simple and you do it every single day, it's going to help you get stronger. If you watch your diet, it's going to help you that way too. If you watch what you're eating, your food intake, your calorie intake, you're going to lose weight. It's just plain and simple. But I think the way that people go about doing it, it's different for everybody. And I always tell my clients, and I tell people that ask me questions online, is you got to figure out what works best for you. Ask questions if you have them. I don't mind answering them. I don't have all the answers, but I have read a lot. I have done a lot. I have failed at certain things. And I know in my world versus your world, you can't fail very much. You really can't fail that much. But in my world, we fail all the time because we can try and exercise and it sucks. It doesn't work. In your world, it definitely doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. You can't fail very much because if you do, then it's lives. Whereas mine is it's a little different.
We
You know,
can't.
it's
We can't, and we never want to let anyone down.
yeah.
And that's impossible. Honestly, it's impossible to do. Yeah, we put that expectation on ourselves because I don't know. I really do think like the people I've tried to surround myself in terms of work, like the people at my clinic right now, the people that I'm closest to in terms of practitioners too that are OBs, like I find that again, like they demand more of themselves than is possible. Just like I think of myself. Like I know that I literally am there's probably only one emotion that I usually feel about myself, which is disappointed, which is a weird way to put it, but like I'm never happy with myself. I'm never like that was enough, that's good enough, you did great. You're so awesome. It just doesn't work that way. If I do absolutely everything I expect and I've met expectations, and that is good enough. But the only thing you can either be is good enough or not good enough. And I think, as bleak as that sounds, I think it's what makes really good people in healthcare,
Mm.
because it's an internal thing to you. It's like my nurse right now that's going into nursing school and trying to do all this stuff. Like, saw something in her a long time ago when she was just a patient care tech in the NICU working with my wife. Now apparently, okay, so big plug, she won some Women of Outstanding Achievement in Abilene because of secondary career achievement. So shout out to Abby for that. And again, it's just, those are the people I have tremendous amount of time for, a tremendous amount of respect, and a tremendous amount of camaraderie with, in the sense of I recognize something in their spirit that reminds me of myself. I think it's important. I think it is. But I think that can be true with everything we do in life. It's just in healthcare, I think I think it's necessary. I think everybody can try to put those expectations on themselves, and it can be a drive for success. It's probably what got me to honestly being as successful as I was, to try to get through med school and everything. Because I know, again, getting through med school, doing all this different stuff is not an easy road to walk. Getting through nursing school is not an easy road to walk. People sometimes don't think they're smart enough, that they can work hard enough. But or in business school, whatever, starting a business, you and me talk about positive thoughts. You and me also, I am a sucker for stupid quotes. I constantly save quotes and read quotes just for inspirational purposes, because I feel like it's like soul food. Because I think it's good to remind yourself of just motivation. It's like meditative in some ways, of why are you doing this? Why do you wake up every day? What's the point in opening your eyes if you're not going to try to make a difference? I don't mean to be, again, it almost comes off as bleak. And then I don't want it to sound bleak. I want it to sound hard-nosed, in terms of it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Every day is a gift. I've told plenty of people that. I always tell Katie that. I'm like, tomorrow's not given. You don't know. You don't know if you're gonna wake up tomorrow. You and me have had plenty of examples of that actually in our recent lives. Kind of remind us again that people our own age are not necessarily here tomorrow. And
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
when we
I
have a
was
limited
thinking
time
about
here,
that.
you got to do the most you can with it.
Yeah, that's a big deal. 'Cause I was thinking about that the other day. I was telling Kate that. I was like, do you ever think, like, when you go to sleep, that you're trusting that you're gonna wake up tomorrow?
Yeah, you
Isn't that
just
isn't
assume
that
it.
crazy?
You assume it, and you don't know.
Am I the only one that thinks like that? I don't know, dude.
No,
I do, 'cause
because I've kind of always had this really really weird association with that stuff. And it just got worse, honestly, with the birth of my son, because it's just kind of one of these. It's gotten more clear. I've gained more clarity with it, but it has not become easier, because it now becomes a situation where I hold on to every day as if I need to be here for tomorrow. I need to be here. And there's no guarantee I can be. There's nothing that says you're guaranteed tomorrow. And everything about what I want to do now says I want to guarantee tomorrow, so that I can be here, so that I can be here as long as I possibly can, so he doesn't have to be here for any length of time without me here.
mm,
But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
it will.
I'm the old man of the marriage, man. I'm 7 years older than my wife, my kids.
They're
What are
gonna
you? Are you 30? Are you 39 now?
they're gonna be like they're gonna be like, hey, is that your grandpa over there? Hey, Sam, is that your grandpa? I don't know.
Nah, dude.
No, dude,
Because
no, bro. That's my
I'm gonna be like
dad.
the Mendelbaums, dude, from Seinfeld. You don't remember that, do you? Do you remember?
Yes, he will be.
That keeps. Well, you think you're better than me, kid?
It's gonna be you, dude. Dude, dang, man. You and Bill Belichick, y'all both are gonna have,
Oh
your
my
kids are
god,
gonna be the
that's
same
already
age.
I'm already Bill Belichick. Katie's like 7 years younger than me. It's like way too young, honestly. Like I sometimes I feel like I am acting my age now because I'm almost 40.
Hey, let's not talk about 40. You there, big guy?
I got one more year left.
You'll get
I
there.
think that
You'll get
I'm
there.
getting hot in here.
You'll
It's
get
getting
there.
hot talking about our
You'll get
age.
there. Man. It's just it is crazy the things that and that's another thing too. You don't know what people are dealing with. A friend of mine, she lost her sister a couple weeks back, and she was young. She was under 40. And then I always thought this one lady at the gym was just a total B, like just a total B word. And
Mhm.
sometimes you have those people that are just major Bs,
Yeah, major bees.
major Bs, bzz,
Hate them bees.
them Bs. And so, anyways, when I told her, I said, my friend's sister passed away, and she started talking a little bit, and she goes, you know what, I lost my son when he was 20 years old. He died in a car accident, and I was like, I kind of paused. If you can see me, if you can listen to me, if you're listening, it was kind of weird because I was like, man, this is the whole reason why she kind of is the way she is. Like she, not saying that she treats people poorly. It's just she's kind of grouchy.
Mhm.
I'd be grouchy too,
Yeah.
to lose a kid or to do that and have to live. I just admire. I really do admire, and I hate that. But people that lose children, like to continue their life, because
No,
I can't imagine that.
yeah. I mean, my father's talked about that before, and I feel like he said it in the best possible way. It's so unnatural that like I don't. It's impossible to fathom how
Yeah,
people
dude, because
go
you
through
think
that.
about it, and it crushes your heart.
Yeah.
It just crushes you. Yeah, man, yeah, it's just life.
So look, like let's this has been deep, and I knew this was gonna happen, dude. I'm telling you, I just swore. Like Katie was asking me why I was listening. Like I was listening to the saddest music in my shower
What
tonight,
was that song? I'm
and
trying to think of the other song he was listening to is like "Goodbye, Honey," or
well, I was listening. What's the song? It's called. Let me see here. What was I listening to earlier?
that one Michael Scott that he has on repeat, and he's like, "No, I didn't buy it yet." He's like, you can buy that
I
from
just want to
iTunes.
taste.
Yeah, it's just like
He's listening to
"Goodbye, Honey." Oh,
yes, it's James Blunt, dude.
sing it, dude. You know it. Sing
No,
it.
no, stupid song.
You were listening to that earlier.
Goodbye.
Oh, there you go. Goodbye. You were the
No,
greatest thing to me.
no. Okay, so you're just joking now because I legit was like listening to all this sad music. My wife was like, "What is going on with you? Why are you so upset?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I'm in a sad mood." And she's like, "Oh, I can tell." And I knew tonight. I knew if we got on here, I was like, "Man, I'm probably close to choking up without even talking right now." It's probably gonna happen if we talk because I've been thinking about my patients a lot and been thinking about just frustrations with everything, and it makes me upset. At some point, I am gonna write a little thing to patients on here, and I swear to God, I might even have to have Katie read it because I'm not even gonna
Dude,
try. Because I'll probably just get
you're gonna write one of those like Instagram things, like when someone gets traded from a team, or they like leave the Cowboys, and it's like, "Dear Abilene, I love y'all. I love my patients. I love You're gonna have to do it, bro. You're gonna have to do it.
gonna have to do it.
And then everybody's gonna be like, "I love that guy, best doctor ever." Some guy's gonna be like,
Mm-mm.
"He's so," or some girl's gonna be like, "Oh, he's so cute. Oh my god, so handsome. He's the most handsome doctor ever."
That
And
won't
Mel,
be as important as just again. I gotta get some stuff on my chest and make sure people know that it wasn't like I've told patients over and over again. The way I put it is just if I could pack every one of them up and take them with me, I would. I'd take the good with the bad. I'd take everything with it. But just to get a little bit of a let's get a little bit of like education. We buried it beneath 40 minutes of
nah,
almost crying and
no
fucking.
education. What is that? People don't want to listen to us educate them.
Well, okay, so look, we said we were going to talk a lot about nutrition, but I think to try to have gone through a whole episode of nutrition would have been the most dry thing ever, and I really realized it boils down to a few little things. It
Let's hear it.
it really does just boil down to kind of, again, we talk about this idea of common sense, right? Like just doing the things like you would think. And so the big kind of idea of getting 2,500 calories per day minimum and really not trying to go over 3,000 calories a day as a pregnant woman when you're eating. And you really should try to do more like 5 meals a day as opposed to 3. And those meals should be varied, right? So you should include the like 3 or 4 food groups, and really it should be like a protein, a vegetable or fruit, and maybe a simple carb like something like brown rice or lentils or quinoa. And like the funny thing is like I was going to talk about, one of the things that people don't talk about that's a huge supplement that you need to know about for pregnancy is choline. We're going to talk about choline a lot. But guess what choline is in? Choline is in things like red meat and chicken and eggs. And so this stuff is necessary for your pregnancy. But if you're eating the normal, varied foods you should as a normal, healthy diet. So it's one of these questions, too, again, where the only time you have to start talking about how do you get these things specifically for your diet is if you already have kind of a very specified diet. So if you're vegetarian, if you're vegan, then you need to start thinking about what are the deficiencies you're not getting?
Good luck.
Things like B12 and choline. Yeah, I mean, well, good luck unless you supplement. So you need to identify those deficiencies that your diet is naturally going to specify and restrict, and find ways to supplement those things. So that is probably the biggest thing I would say about nutrition and pregnancy is that know the absolute don't eat these things while you're pregnant. And then otherwise eat a very varied diet. You don't even need to change it up day to day. You just need to have a diet that throughout the day is varied, right? So like if you like bacon, eggs, and toast for breakfast, that's great. Then you really need to have a lighter, more green, more vegetable kind of laden lunch, like a salad with maybe some rice and like some tomato and kiwi or something. Kiwi wouldn't be in that salad, but you get what I mean. Just range it up a little bit, and portion control too. You need like a 5-ounce fillet, not a 12-ounce T-bone too. Okay, so there you go. That's nutrition in a nutshell in pregnancy. Obviously, there are a lot of nutrients you need, and micronutrients and essential minerals and things, but a lot of those are found in your prenatal vitamin. There are a lot of things like vitamin D and iron and folate and choline and B12. All these things you need in pregnancy, but a lot of them you can get just from a very healthy, varied diet. So that's that in a nutshell. And that is why I titled this episode Muesli of Pregnancy and Life, because I wanted to talk about how muesli, if you know what muesli is, look it up at some point. If you don't, muesli is basically a Swiss based oatmeal type dish, right? It is rolled oats, it is overnight oats mixed with a variety of berries, nuts, honey, different things. So you have different things in your diet, you have different things in your muesli, you are helping your nutrition, just like with our lives too. And that is where I also kind of say is tonight was a lot about a lot of different things that we're talking about, a lot of different topics. That's where the idea of muesli, of pregnancy and life comes in. Okay. So we always need to take a healthy approach with a healthy muesli kind of outlook to our life. Okay.
Muesli. So you're not eating for
Use
two, right, bro?
muesli as an analogy. All right. It used to be one of my favorite cereals growing up. They got rid of it. It was called Mueslix. God, such a good cereal. And it was so freaking nutritional. Man, I wish I still made Mueslix. Anyways,
Never had me some Muesli, but
oh man, Mueslix was the shit.
do you think not eating for two is a big deal? Like you needed slightly more calories, not double the calories. I always hear that I'm eating for two.
Yeah, that's a bullshit idea. But I let people slide with that too. I'd rather them use that excuse and eat more than start restricting their diet too much too, right? I'd rather you overgain weight in pregnancy, unfortunately, than undergain. A lot of women get really upset when they start to gain too much weight or whatever. You can ask all my patients. I'm probably one of the least concerned about weight gain in your pregnancy as long as you're gaining weight. Like I'm more concerned when people are not gaining enough weight.
Mm.
Although I don't, again, want to encourage excess weight gain in pregnancy. You are correct.
Okay, I'm gonna
That
ask you. I'm gonna go through this real quick, and I
mm,
want to see what you, Dr. Marr, put
yeah,
you on the spot.
put me on the spot.
Okay, let's talk macronutrients to focus on. So, protein. Is it true that if you eat protein, it helps with fetal development and it helps to preserve muscle?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay,
Is it?
that's all I need to know. Now,
Okay.
I got some more
Yes.
here.
Okay.
Healthy fats, omega 3s are essential for brain development.
Mm-hmm.
So, like some
Mm-hmm.
salmon, some chia
Yes.
seeds, some walnuts.
Yes. So we already talked about that
Yeah,
last
we
week.
did,
Remember? See, the
right?
walnuts was a special type of omega 3s too. It's not the other type of the. There's 2 out of 3 are found in fish, and 1 out of 3 is found in walnuts. It's like the LOAs, the
Yeah.
linoleic acids versus the other ones.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's good.
yes,
Okay, so let's
yes.
talk
Okay.
about carbs. So they're
Carbs.
great for your workouts and energy,
Yeah.
especially when the nausea hits.
Nausea.
Is that true?
What kind of nausea?
Just your nausea.
Well, actually,
Is that wrong?
I would say proteins are better about
See, I
because
knew it.
remember we talked about that last week with nausea is that protein typically is a better nausea reduction tool. But that can be tough because again, what if your food aversion right now is like eggs, right? And it's breakfast and you feel so like again, it's weird because I don't like that rule of macros with nausea because if I were to think about that through where they say proteins can be a little more appetite and nausea suppressing as a general rule, it seems weird to me to say that when, if I think about it, toast, dry toast, is a much more bland and essential element of a very simplified, non stimulatory diet regimen, right? So, like a brat diet is bananas, rice, applesauce, toast. And those are like the four excuse me. Those are the 4 most bland things you can eat, and so if you're really having struggles with nausea and vomiting, those are the things you're supposed to eat.
Mm, I like that. What
And so,
about
again, it might go back to your idea of carbs. So carbs might be better in some
see, this
ways.
is why you got to talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
Hydration, crucial for digestion, circulation, and avoiding fatigue.
Percent. How
Mm.
is that not gonna be true,
Well, I
right?
don't know, but people don't, this is their questions from the
That's
listeners.
true.
Micronutrients, let's go micro now.
Micro.
So iron needed for increased blood volume.
Yes. I mean, look, so iron is an essential building block of hemoglobin, which you need for oxygen carrying capacity, which will thicken your blood overall. So, yes, I mean, I would say, yeah,
Iron
but you just
supplement?
need iron in general.
You don't need a supplement, or do you just need to eat some red meat?
I mean, red meat would be ideal. I think that's the best way for you to always absorb your dietary intake of any nutrient. But elemental iron, at least 80 milligrams as a supplement, is not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, I got 2 more here.
Okay.
Calcium, we've talked about magnesium, but it's good
Huh.
for muscle function, bone support, cramp prevention.
Yes, we've talked about that too, man. Magnesium, especially magnesium oxide, is good for cramp prevention, like Charlie horses, things like that.
Yeah, my grandpa, dude, he used to. I remember we'd go on trips, and that dude would, you'd hear like, oh, he's asleep. Oh, my
Yeah.
leg, my leg.
Or like Malay. Yeah.
All right, next
No,
one.
it's very good for that. For sure.
Folate,
Folate.
critical for baby's development.
Oh my God, dude. Folate's like the main reason we have prenatal vitamins. You need 400 micrograms as a minimum in the United States. You need 4 milligrams if you've had a prior kid with a neural tube defect, which is 10 times the amount. But in general, most prenatal vitamins are going to come with about 800 micrograms just to be like, oh, we give you double what the minimum requirement is. However, the important thing with folate is really that you're taking it before you even get pregnant. So this is why we tell a lot of women to take a prenatal vitamin when they're trying to get pregnant, not just once they
Hey,
get pregnant.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Okay, so I'm gonna throw some little fitness fuel into here, and you tell me. You can chime in and be like, you shouldn't do that, but this is what I wrote down. So like pre-workout meals. So if you're pregnant and you're thinking about what should I eat before I go work out, something light with carbs, protein, maybe a banana with peanut
Yes.
butter, maybe
Yes.
protein smoothie, something light to fit in within those 2,500 calories that you were talking about earlier. I think that's pretty safe, right? That's pretty good, unless you're a vegan.
Yes. Well, wait, what's the matter with peanut butter and a
I'm kidding.
banana
I'm
to a
just kidding,
vegan?
dude.
If they don't care about the peanuts
I just
feelings.
always talk to the vegans.
Okay.
I'm not a vegan. Post workout nutrition, just make
Yeah.
sure you refuel with a balanced meal like we talked about earlier to aid
Mm-hmm.
with recovery because you are still breaking down your muscles if you're strength training.
Yep.
You're going to need
You're
it,
breaking
right?
down your muscles even more when you're pregnant.
Right? A lot. That's what I thought. That's why we do like power
That's what I
cleans and
thought.
squats with 295 pounds on the back. And then,
Dang.
nah, we don't do that.
Okay.
So just a point, you're not trying to PR here. We talked about that earlier. You're training to
Yeah.
stay strong and mobile.
Yep.
So here's a tip. Don't skip meals. Pregnancy isn't the time for fasting or
Yep.
low cal diets.
Talked about
I
this though.
know.
Are you just reinforcing this
Yes,
again?
I'm reinforcing it just in case,
Okay.
they don't know.
I actually, and so here I have another little. So remember, I have that extra learning thing we were gonna do today.
Oh,
So you ready for this?
let's hear
Because
it.
it's gonna put you on the spot a little
Let's
bit
go.
here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so I had a viewer asking about what things we could recommend from a physical therapy or exercise standpoint for pelvic pain and pelvic floor postpartum. And so I have a few things I'd like to kind of mention here is that so I have some exercises pulled up that I think are very good for pelvic floor physical strengthening, especially for postpartum.
Let's hear it.
And I'm gonna have you look at them real quick and approve from
All
a.
wrong.
No, dude, you gotta approve them, yeah, because I think they're pretty good.
Let's
I
hear it.
think
Let's
they're
see.
pretty good.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see this.
But I want to make you real blushy for a second here because we got to talk about too the idea of the reason women care so much about this is because usually it hurts a little bit after we get to that 6 week point and things kind of hurt to be intimate, right? At first, again, for the first time. So, one thing I always will recommend is that no matter what, like whether there was a repair, whether there wasn't at all, whether it was a small repair, whether it was a large tear, regardless, things are not going to get back to complete normalcy at 6 weeks. Even though we say, hey, everything's okay to go, like you can try again at 6 weeks, it may not mean that your body is necessarily like 100% from before baby to now everything's going to be okay again. So I think what we really have to remember is that we have to dip our toes back in the water a little bit when we do that kind of stuff. We need to try to make sure that the woman, the female, is in control of how intercourse is dictated a little bit. So positions that she kind of has the ability to determine speed, depth, those kind of things is a paradigm, as well as lubricant. Lubricant is one of those things, like, I always think of freaking super bad where, like, the guy's got the bottle of lube and he's like, "What do you think?" Like, blah, but, like, lube is such a weird thing where it's like a faux pas in some ways, I think, in our minds, but, like, lubricant is such a helpful thing, honestly, in healthy sexual intercourse, especially stop shaking. It is a very normal part of intercourse for adults. And water-based and especially silicone-based lubricants can be very, very helpful and very comfortable and honestly aid in a very much more enjoyable experience for the two people involved. The one I think my office and I personally know that is a very different thing than I think most people are accustomed to using and would benefit from trying at some point is a product called Uberlube, which is a very different type of lubricant than most people are accustomed to trying or using. And it is very beneficial in terms of comfort when we're first trying to have intercourse again. moving on from that, and with the specific question of exercise, Andrew doesn't literally try to off himself from secondhand embarrassment right now. I am going to. This is not. Hold on. I'm going to.
Are you going to share
We
the
need it.
screen?
Boom.
Sharing
Here
the
we go.
screen.
Ready? Here we go. Boom. Look at these amazing exercises. Don't get too impressed now.
I like them. I like them. They're good.
Right? So these are all what I have looked up as, from what I can see from physical therapy too, good postpartum exercise. And you've talked about these before in general, like while people are pregnant too. So these might be good things that you started while you were in pregnancy, doing dead bugs and bird dogs for like your abs while you were pregnant or your core. But now they're going to help you build up your pelvic floor a little bit in your postpartum period where you're feeling like, hey, I'd like to do something other than just Kegels or whatever. So we got the assisted heel drops here. Definitely the bridges. The bridges is something I know very well to be a good pelvic floor exercise. I guess I'd really need to know more from Andrew about the dead bugs and the bird dogs, but I know he talks about dead bugs and bird dogs all the time, so I figure they must be pretty good for that too. What do you think,
Oh
bro?
yeah, yeah. No, those are
Yeah.
all really good. I think if you one thing that with my wife, the big thing was she was active before, and I know she did a few of these, and I think the dead bug and the bird dog are really great for more of like a rotational movement as you're rotating, because as you see in the exercises, you're having to use one and then the other side, like you're having to use your contralateral side, so right and left. So I think they're both really great. I also would add in things like deadlifts, which people don't really think about that. They don't think about a deadlift because you have to brace your pelvic floor whenever you're doing a deadlift. Whenever you're doing
Mm-hmm.
kettlebell swings, you have to
Mm-hmm.
engage your abs. I think a big thing too is like whenever the women that I've trained and my wife too is imagine like getting punched in the belly, like someone's gonna like punch you as hard as they can, and then you kind of brace, like you're like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that also helps too. Because I think these are a great place to start, but my whole goal is to try to get you to move and to move well. So deadlifts are great, bird dogs are great, the glute bridges and things, and
Yeah.
even thinking about things like doing some mini band walks side to side, doing some full length squats, like holding on to a TRX strap, like the loops, or even holding on to a wall and squatting all like a door frame and squatting squatting all the way down and getting your pelvis, like your actual hip and everything stretched out. Stuart just kind of went really tight in his video in his camera there, but but I think if you're wanting to help your low back and help your area there, it's really going to come down to you like stretching out your hip flexors, doing things that are going to help your hip to really become more functional, more mobile. I think that's going to be the big thing. And if you're having a lot of pain, then we got to get those glutes, man. We got to get the glutes worked out.
Get the glutes going,
The
bro.
glutes, man. The
Everybody
glutes
likes a
are a
good
big
glute,
thing.
dude. The
No glutes.
glutes, God, if I'm not a glute man, I don't know what I am.
See, you gotta get the glutes, dude. So you gotta do some squats. You gotta do some lateral
Yeah.
lunges, forward lunges, back lunges. You gotta do things that are gonna really like sit ups are gonna be out because that stuff is all broken up right now. Your lower ab, everything. So it's gonna be hard for you to do. But you can still try a plank. You can still try a side plank. You can also do like cable rotations on the like if you're at the gym and you see a cable, you can do some rotations with that. Really great for the lower back. Really great for the oblique. Really great for the lower the
Well,
pelvic area, everything.
you always like the really complex body movement. I remember that's what you and me and some of our buddies used to talk about, is that you really never do abs in the gym. You always do like movement, and they were always like, Andrew's got pretty good ab muscles, but he never does any abs, like, the traditional ab workout things. They were always
No,
kind of
no, if
enamored
you
by how like you were strong abdominally, but never did.
no, bro, my abs are there. They're just under a layer
Yeah.
of chubbiness, a layer of fat. Yeah, dude, weighing about 200, not
200,
160,
bro.
not 160.
Yeah,
But,
dude, gotta cut that out.
yeah, GLP-1, you. Just, but I mean, I just think people, I think they just if you want abs, it's made in the kitchen. You know, you got to eat less,
Yeah.
you move more. I
Yeah,
understand that. I don't want you, if you're pregnant, to do that, but postpartum, let's watch that diet a little bit. You know, let's watch what we're doing. I think that answers your
What's
question.
that
So
diet, dude?
it's your diet. I'm gonna do a little mic drop. Drop that.
Oh, yeah? Drop it to do what? What are you gonna drop it for? Drop
Just
it.
dropping it. Yeah, dude. I think we did good today. I really think we did good. This is good. We did
Yeah.
it. We did it.
We did it. We made it through another episode here, guys. Dude, I feel like this was really too much of a cry fest. Like I don't even know. I
I didn't
don't know
cry,
how to
dude.
get through.
You cried.
Huh?
I didn't cry. You cried.
I didn't cry.
No.
I didn't cry. There was not
You
a
cried. You
tear.
cried like for 10 minutes straight. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with crying, dude. And who cares? Who cares? If you don't want to watch a grown man cry for what he loves to do, then get
Oh
the heck out of here, you know?
Yeah. Kill me now.
Katie, he's making fun of me.
No, great. I really.
You weren't crying,
Listen.
dude. You were just, you know, you're passionate. You have a lot of passion in your heart. And I know, and I appreciate that about you. I cried too a little bit. I think it was mostly just like something from the ceiling or something.
See,
Yeah.
you just got all misty there for a second.
No, I think it's great. It's good. People are gonna. That's the real you, dude. You're not fake. You're a real person. You know, that's really reality.
Yeah. Well, what do you think we're going to talk about next week? What do we think what's in store? I feel like we got to move away from pregnancy.
Yeah,
like,
we're moving away
we
from
have
that
done.
crap.
Yeah, look, like we will talk about pregnancy when y'all bring that stuff up. But like, I am ready to just open this up.
Well,
and
here's an idea though. We can on Spotify. We can actually ask people questions. They can ask them and see. You know, drop questions. We can even do it online and see if anybody will talk about 3 topics next week.
Yes,
I think that'd be a good one. We need to start answering some questions and see what people have, because that was a great question earlier. We could talk for hours on that thing. 3,
I know.
you know.
I know. I want to kind of hit people up. I want people giving us ideas, because that's what's going to stimulate the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I know people have them, and I know people are listening. I know a lot of people are listening and watching, and that's the crazy thing is, like, I know they have questions, and the funny thing is like, if they realize not tonight, like, I'm not identifying anything about y'all. Like, I want viewers, I want listeners to bring those questions forward so that you can find any number of channels to put that stuff out to us so that we can try to address those things and try to talk about them. I am willing to talk more about deep level areas of healthcare too. I promise I will not always get super freaking emotional about it. I don't know where my headspace has been that has me there.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my.
But it is a place where I can get deeply analytical with you guys and explain a lot more about the deep bowels of what goes on in healthcare, to explain why things happen the way they do and why there's a lot of disillusionment from physicians and nurses, and why we have the feelings we do about healthcare, and what you can do to help manipulate those levers and systems of power in healthcare to do the best you can for yourself and for your family, and how you honestly work the system a little bit, because that's what you have to do nowadays. And that's what I've tried to help my patients with as they navigate this setup where I'm not going to be available forever for them in that way.
Love it.
So,
love it.
I'm going to just go ahead and give you guys, Andrew, you have anything to say before we sign off for the night?
No, sir. Muscles and Malpractice.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, so for the Muscles and Malpractice family, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care of yourself and your growing family. Good night. Bye.